Well, thank you, Carolyn. My name's Rebecca Tran, and I work at the Station Food Company. Well, I'm one of the founding owners of the facility here, and we're located in an old school. So it's kind of neat that we believe in farm to school and what it is. And we're actually located in an old elementary school that we've converted into a food hub with a commercial kitchen that we do a lot of our community programming out of. I wanted to start off by saying I'm not a formal evaluator by any means, but I believe in what evaluation's about and how important it is, especially for understanding the process of your programming, some of the outcomes, and if you are successful in wanting to continue them or seek funding or just share what you're doing with other people, because I learned a long time ago that what is measured matters, and if it doesn't get measured, sometimes it's often forgotten about, or you can never kind of go back into your brain to remember what you did. So it's kind of important to kind of have this. Like I said, I'm going to share what we did. It's not crazy complicated, but it's what we did for our program. So I will start clicking through if I can get through. Here we go. So this is Rufan. She was a graduate of the nutrition program at Acadia University. So she was our community food coordinator last year. She's now doing her master's in public health at the University of Toronto, which is, they're very lucky to have her. She was a fantastic addition to our team. And she was one of the key people that helped create a lot of these supporting tools that we have. And I just wanted to acknowledge her and the work that she's done here at the station. So today I want to run through who we are as the Station Food Hub, what the Try It Tuesday program is all about, what the learning objectives are that we wanted to learn, what our process was, how we measured and what was measured, and then I want to walk you through an example of the program and then leave time for questions and answers. So the Station Food Company, our motto or our vision is to connect farms, institutions, and people because it makes sense. I worked as a dietitian for 15 years in the community and public health. I spent some time in the school systems, and I saw how difficult it was for schools to purchase locally and to procure just from the farm down the street because of contracts, negotiations, and all those different kind of things. So when I was on maternity leave, I started, I met my partner, Heather Lunan, and we worked together and developed the Station Food Hub and food company that does all the value add production here at the hub. We focus on local food, and we have a big belief in diverting food waste from the food stream. So the Try It Tuesday program, we're a for-profit business here, and we partnered with Westhants Middle School. So they're a farm or school, sorry, about 10 minutes down the road. And there's a teacher at the school that was a huge believer in local food and farm to school movement. She's a farmer herself. She's also the president of the Federation of Agriculture, but she came to us and asked if we could partner with her school on a Farm to Cafeteria Canada grant. And we were one in Nova Scotia that was successful. And the original idea was to partner with this middle school. It's 600 kids at the school, grades 6, 7, and 8, and start their school salad bar program for them. And of course, that was all before COVID hit. And we were really excited to be able to bring local food through our facility, process it, and then get it off to their salad bars. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but we really wanted to do something. And we pivoted at that time and looked at a farm to school snack program. And we developed a program called Try It Tuesday. The acronym is, we can't, it was TIT, but we called it Try It Tuesday. And it was 3 weeks in December 2020 that we sent snacks to the school, individually packaged because of COVID. They all had to be sealed individually and packaged. And we sent that to the school, and feedback from that initial Try It Tuesday was they wanted some food literacy pieces to go along with it, and they wanted to add that in for the new year to start. So we get asked, like, how do we get into the schools? It really was finding that champion teacher, finding that the school that had the funding, obviously, and they partnered with us. And because of our provincial license and what our capabilities and equipment that we had at our space, it was just a really good partnership and good fit for us to be able to provide this type of opportunity for the school. So what we wanted to do with the Try It Tuesday program, and this was in collaboration with the teachers at the school and what they wanted to see for their their students, again, this is grades 6, 7, and 8s, was to provide them an opportunity to try something new and local, to have the students become more familiar with food, with a particular emphasis on local food. And we felt that doing taste testing and quizzes were one kind of a simple way to kind of make them more familiar with local food, to encourage them to think about local food, whole foods, and how to incorporate those into their daily lives. And again, to make it better by understanding what worked and what didn't. And this is where the evaluation piece comes into play. So here are some examples of some of the things that the Try It Tuesday program is all about. So we built these beautiful posters. They're the 3 weeks that we did the program in January and February. We did a refreshing sunlight smoothie. So that was a tomato carrot smoothie. We had a smoky beet hummus with kohlrabi slices. And we did a sweet potato tortilla and a hummus that was made, I believe, with sweet potatoes as well. We stated what the learning objectives were, which what I had mentioned earlier. We had some activities, and that was kind of to help the teachers kind of guide them in their process of how this would be received at the school. There was an extension activity included, and this is kind of like a homework, or the kids could take it home and do that. And then, of course, the references are there as well. We used Google Forms. We checked with the school and we found out that that could be easily incorporated into Google Classroom. So we developed the materials. We sent that off to Robin, that's the teacher. She then kind of facilitated on her end, getting it out to Google Classrooms. All the kids had their Chromebooks or whatever have you, and it was all done that way. And then we boxed it like you see in the picture up here on the far right. So we were given the teachers' names and the number of students in their class. And what we did on our end is then we said, okay, this week 1 is grade 6s. So the grade 6s, there's 5 grade 6s at the school, and these are the 5 teachers, and this is how many snacks will go in each bag. And then we bag the snacks, or we box them, or whatever the method was of getting the snacks over there, into that number, and was labeled by the teacher. Robin came by 20 minutes before, like on their lunch break, picked everything up from us, took it to the school, and it was very easy for her to then like take each box and deliver it to the classroom, and everything was in there for the teacher. So they really, really enjoyed the ease of how the program worked, and they were really receptive of the materials and all of that. So like I said, those were the 3 that we did. So the smoothies were blended at the station, and then they were in little cups. And the tortillas were done with just sweet potato puree mixed with a little bit of flour and baked, and they're actually fantastic. And then the beet, the kohlrabi and the smoky beet hummus were served. The pieces were in the hummus, and then they were kind of packaged that way. So these are the types of things that we measured. So when we looking at the snacks, we kept track of the number that were purchased. So the school bought the snacks off us, and so we knew how many we sold. We looked at student acceptance. Would they choose it again if it was served at their school? And suggestions for improvement. So way back when we first thought about this program, we recognized that we could make snacks with local ingredients and sell them to the school cafeteria, and then they could sell them to the kids. But we didn't want to go ahead and invest a lot of time and energy into making snacks if we didn't know the kids liked them. So one of the kind of underlying purposes around the Try It Tuesday program was to introduce these types of snacks to the students. And if they liked them and they would buy them from the school, then that would be a revenue generator for the school cafeteria, that they would be able to provide these snacks. So we wanted to kind of gauge student acceptance of what the food actually was. At the quiz, we looked at the response rate. So how many people responded to the quiz. Now, they could have done it as a full class, which then it's only one response that's reflective of like 25 people. Or we could have, some students or teachers chose to ask the children to like respond individually. So there were some weeks where we had quite a lot of responses and some weeks where we had very few, but it was because they were done by the class. We looked at the highest and average score. So this would give us an indication of if the quiz was too hard, too easy, or if there was any particular questions, because we were able to draw out to see which question, if everybody got that question wrong, maybe it wasn't worded properly. We didn't do a lot of focus testing on these quizzes, so we kind of like just put them into the school. And so essentially it could be like a focus test kind of thing. And if they learned anything about the snack from the quiz. The feedback survey was done to look, again, like single versus class. We'd ask those types of things, and to see if they had any understanding of what a whole food was or local foods and the overall acceptance of that event. And then on our end at our business, we looked at production statistics. So we looked at food costing, how much time it took to prepare these snacks, and we did up nutritional fact tables for each of the snacks to look at the nutritional content. So again, this is a fully packaged kind of program, and I'm happy to share this information with anybody because I would love to see this type of program expanded or replicated like beyond just the one area that we're in, because we have all the information and we have all the we have recipes and quantity recipes and all this type. We have everything. Oops, let me see here. So smoky beet hummus and kohlrabi slices. This was the second snack of round 2. And like I said, it was baked local beetroots with a bean hummus and just the right amount of spices to enjoy with a local kohlrabi. So that's kind of how we marketed it. And I picked this one because this is probably the least accepted one of all. And sometimes that's good because when you evaluate, you learn a lot and you can, I want to share with you kind of this example. So I'm going to share with you, I'm going to get off at the screen and I'm going to go into the shared Google Drive, but the recipe, the posters, the quiz, and the feedback survey and some of the reports. So I'm just going to get out of here and go into this. Just 1 second here. All right, so the key is to stay organized, and Rufan did an amazing job of keeping us on track. So when we look at the Try It Tuesday program, we have the beets, hummus, and kohlrabi slices here. So I'm going to show what we've done. So this is the poster that was sent out, and we sent this out the day before the snack was coming, so the teachers had a chance to get it up and going. And again, so we went through the learning objectives, what the activities were here. So again, step by step, so the teachers can kind of see what this happens, and then go to the online quiz, and it can be done. And once they've completed the quiz, then you go through each question. So these are the answers to the questions. So, you know, it was kind of designed for kids, and it looks kind of fun. And I didn't get them all right, I can tell you that. I found it was a kind of a fun thing I learned from this program as well. This was kind of the feedback survey, and again, this is a simple tool. It's free to use, and then our responses are collected on the same place. So we can then see how many people responded, and all the questions. Have you had this before? Have you had the hummus before? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Suggestions for improvement. Would you choose it if this was available at school? 15 people said yes, and 32 said no. I loved this, the responses, you know, any comments. I liked it more than the hummus. You can get some kind of good feedback from the kids. Kind of good, but not good. Didn't like it at all. A mixed bag of comments. We loved reading them, and let's see here. So that was the responses to that. Another kind of evaluation tool that we used was the quiz. So you can kind of get a sense of the quiz questions, and you can use this to kind of just, it's very simple, like bar charts and analyze, and pie charts of what their answers were. We had, when you look at the reporting section, so what we did after that was each week we put together, let me see if I think this is the kohlrabi slices here. We summarized the responses from the Google forums into kind of just a text, which was easier to kind of, if someone just likes to read rather than kind of look at numbers. This is the result summary. So we sent over 175 and we only had 24 responses to the quiz. So I would say in this incidence, majority of them answered as a class. But again, suggestions for improvement, which we didn't see on we were able to pull that out. So I thought it was, kids are kids and they're honest, right? And didn't like the smoky part of it. But again, it's getting them trying something new, and it's getting them to think about food, right? That's kind of the big point of it. It was gross, didn't like the taste good at all, really, really liked it. So it's nice to have all this information and to put it together. So then finally what we did is we did a full on, where did it go? Stakeholder kind of report. And this was shared with the teachers, the principal. They shared it to the Regional Center for Education or the school board. We sent this out to our community partners because it's a very simplistic kind of way to explain the whole entire program. And then there's the NFTs for the program. So I'm going to go back into this. We collected everything onto one page. So this is all 3 weeks. And then the average quiz scores, we looked at all the questions and everything. So it's a nice way to have all the numbers in one spot. And again, the stakeholder report was just a simple 3-page report that we put together using Canva. So I think last week or one of the weeks, someone had talked about Canva. Canva Pro is what we use for all of our posters and sharing for everything. So what we learned from the work that we've done is find the key partners, the schools, the farms, and the community support is super important to have. Understand why, and like I said, only measure what you need. Like we didn't need to collect random information. We only collected the information that we felt would be beneficial to making the program better. Keep it simple. So like I said, we use Google Forms. We were consistent with what the schools already used, and staying organized is key. And take feedback and change the program to meet the needs of the end user. Finding out that they wanted some of those quizzes and those posters added in was like, it made the program that much better. And now more schools are contacting us because they want to expand, knowing that we have some of these tools. That's kind of it. That's the Try It Tuesday program in a nutshell. And I'm happy to answer any questions from you guys.
Thanks so much, Rebecca. Really fun to hear. And see all the foods you made, and yeah, hear some of the feedback and everything. It sounds like your team got a good laugh out of some of the comments, and keeps you on your toes, eh?
Yeah.
I'd encourage everybody, yeah, to either just unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can put it in the chat box. Do folks have any initial questions for Rebecca? I can jump in while people are thinking. So I'm wondering, Rebecca, how did you get teachers involved in the evaluation component? Did you have to go through the school board, or was it more like, how did you get them engaged? I know people often struggle to get, especially that feedback piece, you know, they can run the program, but it's really hard to get a class involved in sharing back with the evaluation part.
Yeah, I mean, Robin, the teacher that's from the school, yeah, she just, when we put the grant application in together, we had support from the principal definitely to work with us and to get a snack program or salad bar program. So we had that initial buy-in from at that level. And then really, Robin said she just had to go down there and go to the lunchroom with the teachers and say, you know, we're making the snacks, we're going to bring them in. And the first round in December, she said, oh, the teachers kind of took it and didn't really know what to do with it. But once we added that other piece where we sent them some quizzes and other things, then I felt it was more receptive because they kind of could use it like and make something more of it than just handing out snacks for kids to try. So and then by the end of it, they were asking for us to send over like a few extra ones for the teachers and the principals and things because they wanted to get involved in it. So yeah, it was really having that champion teacher that brought this to the school. We weren't allowed to even go into the school, so she had to drive here and get all the snacks and take them down. So our involvement in the actual school was minimal.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, often that teacher champion is everything. Yeah. Maybe you could put the slide down and then I'll add myself.
Oh, stop sharing. Let me do
that. Yeah, that'd be perfect. And I have a question here, which is great. Yep. So someone from Newfoundland and Labrador who says it would be great to see this in the schools there. Did you have any issues with trying it in the schools that have contracts with food providers?
So the school that we're in did not have one, and in our area it doesn't. Now I see Dawn Hare's on the call, and she does a lot of farm to school snack programs. She may have something to add to that, but we didn't have any issues because the school that we were working with did not have a contracted food provider. So, yeah, so that's, I didn't, no issues there, but again, we didn't try it in any other schools.
Yeah, thanks. I guess, yeah, given that you were selling them, that does get into a big thing. If it was just, a tasting or trying things, even if there was an existing food provider, it wouldn't matter. But yeah, with the sales.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments from Dawn? All right, I guess I'll ask another question then. How did you use the feedback that you heard?
So if we were to do this again, we would take that feedback. And again, like the big feedback was the changes we made between the 2 times we've done it. But again, we would take that feedback, and I would say we would probably change up the snacks a little bit more, and change the recipes around based on what the kids kind of said. Because I mean, we don't want to send something over that's going to be wasted every time because we know that the kids aren't going to like it. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I see, Erin, you have your hand up. Did you want to speak?
Yeah, thanks. I'm wondering how you use the data that you collected to reinform kind of the next steps or the next goal, or did you make new goals after the first kind of year based on what you collected?
We haven't yet, but again, we have all the data, and if we were to do the program again, kind of what I just mentioned, we would probably change up some of the snacks and do something a little bit different. But feedback on the quizzes and the surveys and all that kind of stuff was positive, so we would probably continue using that, but maybe change up the snacks.
Is there any evaluation that you feel you missed or like you do differently next time?
I don't think so. Not from my perspective, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah, no, yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. I was going to ask the same if you would add any more evaluation components or if you got the data you wanted. Yeah. And it sounds like you were really looking for, what did they think of it? Would they buy it? And just the quizzes seem like a fun way to.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Susan has to leave. Thanks. Any other questions from people about how the program worked? Okay, question from Margot. Can you share a little bit more about how the station sourced the foods from local producers to use in the program?
Yeah, so the initial one in December, it was all sweet potato focused because we had a local farm that had sweet potatoes in December, and we said, Katie, they're the big sweet potato people here in this province, but we said, drop us off sweet potatoes, and that's why we started making everything with sweet potatoes. And then in February, we just tried to source whatever we could find, and we just went right to the farm and said, give us some tomatoes, give us whatever carrots you have, and we just drove out there and picked it up ourselves. If we were to expand this program, make it bigger, we have contracts now with distribution companies and things like that, just because we do a lot of different programming here at the station. So we would just tap into our purchasing that we do, you know what I mean? So it wasn't a big thing.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing with community partnerships is sometimes specific schools don't have the relationships, but in your case, yeah, you're a community food hub basically. Yep. And so, yeah, that you can do all that and tap into the connections and
I should just say we have like storage on site. We have big 40-foot reefers of refrigerators and freezers, and I mean we have stuff in our freezer that came in last harvest, so we've already chopped it up and cut it up and ready to go. So because we're a food hub and we have the space and the facilities and infrastructure, we just kind of have all that kind of on site.
Thanks. Erin, do you have another question?
Yeah, I was wondering, is there any of the information you collected that you got feedback from some of your partners, such as the school district, about what was really valuable to them?
No, I mean, we sent off the stakeholder reports to the principals and we sent off everything off. But to be honest, we haven't got a lot of engagement back from them. I've reached out a few times to say, could this potentially expand, or could we do this, or how could this be valuable to you? But we haven't got a lot of that back. So maybe what we've developed isn't speaking to them in the way that they need to be spoken to. I'm not quite sure. So
yeah, I wonder, I'm asking because I wonder, what is it that they are really, like, what is it that would help them communicate in like district language to you know, the board or whatever, whoever it is, that this is like a really powerful thing.
Yeah, and I think again, it's finding those internal champions that that could take what we've done a little bit further. And again, like last week when we saw the presentation, like they worked with the curriculum and they worked with, and they've got that buy-in from the school board or the regional center. So we're just not there yet.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions?
I just have a quick question. Hello, Rebecca.
Hi,
With the information that goes into the schools, like with classroom activities and this quiz, did that need to be seen by anyone first? Like when we think of putting in resources into the schools for teachers to use as activities, did it need vetted by somebody else? Like I'm in that position right now with our farm to school snack program, and does anyone need to see this stuff first?
Well,
different language, different verbs, different, you know, that kind of thing.
I know. So I reached out to Rebecca from Egg in the Classroom and I said, we're doing this program. We have all these quizzes and things like that. And she said, well, send it over to me. I'll take a look at it. And I sent it. And like, so I didn't really get anywhere with that. And I didn't really know who else to kind of chat with, but Agriculture in the Classroom is kind of who I connected with initially to see. And then we just decided we're sending these quizzes in so no, they were not really vetted by anybody in the education system. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
My understanding is it often depends on the level and the scale of what you're doing. If you're working with multiple schools or a board-wide kind of thing, the school board wants to be involved. Often when it's just with a school, you know, the teacher is the one that you relate with. And so it's, often really tricky to know exactly how to, you know, what you need to do and navigate. But yeah, it sounds like you were in connection with the teachers and the principal and all that. And so,
and we made sure we try to reference everything that we sent like in. So there was some kind of evidence to back up the information that we were sending in case we ever got called out on it. So,
thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Dawn.
Any other questions or feedback? So you said, what were the 3 snacks that you did again?
The first time we had different, they were all sweet potato snacks, but we did a sweet potato popsicle, a sweet potato tortilla, and a hummus. And I think those were the 3 that like it was a sweet potato hummus with vegetable slices, and then it was a sweet potato tortilla with tzatziki, and then the sweet potato popsicles. That was the first round. And then the second round, we did the beet hummus and kohlrabi slices, the tomato sunlight smoothie, which when the kids thought it was a tomato sunlight smoothie, they loved it. But the teachers that told them that it was a tomato, there was tomato in it before what was it called? Refreshing sunlight smoothie. That's what it was. They loved it. But then when they heard it was tomato, they didn't like it anymore. And then there was the tortillas and the hummus again. Like, you know what I mean? So we kind of, some of the snacks we did, but.
Yeah, one of the things that people often set out to measure is willingness to try, and if that goes up, and that. Did you have that as a measurement component of your program at all?
We didn't specifically say, we didn't measure that, but based on the feedback, a lot of people commented like, I really enjoyed trying this, or I like to try new food, and they would try again if there was more local food coming in. So that kind of came out, but we didn't specifically ask that.
Thanks. Yeah, it's always a question, of how to measure that piece of, you know.
Yep.
Does even the willingness go up if you try things and that? Okay.
Right. Yeah. No, that would be a good one.
Any other comments or questions? All right. I think we'll leave it at that then. Just a big thank you so much, Rebecca, for sharing, everything that you folks did. It was, fun to hear about the snacks, and what your program involved. So in terms of next steps, we'll send a short evaluation format to people just to hear how you found the event and what else would be useful. And yeah, then we'll let everybody know once we have next steps and resources up. We'll likely have the link to this video up by tomorrow. So I'll send that around. And just with that, just thanks so much, Rebecca, for coming and sharing everything today. And thanks to everybody for being on the call.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye now.